I'm Chip Townsend, and this is the Team Chip Podcast. Welcome back. I'm Chip Townsend with your Team Chip Podcast, and today we're going to be talking about lead by example, and I'm going to have an amazing man here with me today, Mr. Manny De Los Santos, the Chief Instructor of the headquarter Team Chip location in Abilene, Texas, to help us to work through this lead by example topic. We can't wait to get rolling. All right, man, I am so pumped. Today just got brighter. I have the one and only Master Roo in the house with me today. Mr. Manny De Los Santos. Master Roo is my kind of loving nickname for him because he has this super unbelievably cool hoodie with this giant like rooster on the front of it with these giant arms and hands instead of wings. It's the coolest thing ever. So I nicknamed him Master Roo, like the cocky rooster walking around the building. We laugh about it all the time.
I love it.
All right, man. So today it's going to be a great day. You're going to get some amazing nuggets. This man has been through so much in his life. I can't tell you just how honored and blessed we are to have him as a part of our team, our organization. I remember praying about it, thinking about it. Like, I want this guy to be our chief instructor. And I was a little nervous, man, to make him an offer. I made him an offer because he's had a great job, doing amazing in life, great family, and he accepted it. And I was just like, okay, you got control of this deal. But anyway, with all of that said, Mr. Manny De Los Santos, so how are you today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Got a workout in earlier today. Got time with the kiddos, so I'm doing great.
Yep, we got priorities are straight, man. Got the workout, got the family time in.
Oh, yeah.
I love it, man. So we'll kind of dive into it and move on here. So, you had some martial arts experience before you came to us, right? And you've been with us for quite a while.
Yes, sir.
So tell me how you guys started in martial arts. Where did that come from?
So officially, my martial arts started at boot camp at the Marine Corps. We have the Marine Corps martial arts program, and every Marine has to have some sort of certification level in that. Right. But I was lucky enough early in my career to get selected to try out an instructor program while I was deployed in about 2005 or 2006. Nice. So since then, I was a Marine Corps martial arts instructor, and I spent probably the better part of my career on the side teaching martial arts.
Nice. Well, real quick, how long have you trained with us at Team Chip?
I started in 2015.
2015.
So almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years now, which is fantastic. So the reason I asked that is because when I first met you, I had no idea. I did know you had were a Marine, and really you still are. You'll always be a Marine. But sure. I knew you were a Marine, and I knew you had military experience. I didn't know much about the depth of it. But the reason I bring that up is because I think this is so important, like the culture in our business.
Right.
And we have, I think, and we really make concerted efforts to have a humble culture. And the reason I bring that up is because as our chief instructor, you never, to my knowledge, with any of the instructors you trained under with us or even direct training with me, ever questioned anything or ever said things like, oh, when I did it, you were always open-minded. That's one of the things we freaking love about you so much. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yes, sir.
That is so cool that you trained, the Marine Martial Arts program, then instructed the Marine Martial Arts program. And honestly, I didn't even realize that when you first got on the mat. You were just open-minded, a student, went in there and busted your hump and killed it. So anyway, continue with that backside story a little bit. Tell us a bit about your Marine experience, please.
Oh, it was great. I really enjoyed it. I was kind of not sidelined, but my first time was at a test and evaluation squadron. So basically, we were working with the V-22, which is a helicopter that can turn into an airplane kind of situation. Wow. And so I spent probably almost my first enlistment doing a lot of paperwork and inspections and testing and training and moving around the country, testing that aircraft and training that aircraft, getting it ready to roll into actual combat in Iraq and Afghanistan at the time. And when my first contract was up, I was like, I want to go to a deploying unit that actually moves around overseas and does the combat, not just, around the U.S. So I got the chance to go in with HMH 461 Iron Horse, who are still pioneers and leading in their charge as a unit. With CH-53 helicopters, which is the largest and heaviest helicopter that the U.S. has. and I got the opportunity there to deploy and go to combat and go and help in humanitarian assistance missions and all kinds of things there, and also got to fly around as a aerial observer slash crew chief on those things and a door gunner, and had a lot of great experiences there and times and good people, huge hearts, a lot of motivation, just a good group. Then after I got back from Afghanistan, I spent a small stint as a recruiter out of
Mhm.
Fort Worth. I
Right.
recruited in Fort Worth for a while, and then things changed, plans changed. I got married, and life took me back to North Carolina, and there was a chance to either re-enlist and go to Japan for only a year, or get out, on contract on time and start a life as a civilian. And we had to
Right.
pray about it and really weigh our options, and it brought me back home to where I grew up in Texas, and I have never turned back since.
Nice. And we are every day thankful for that direction in life. And it kind of goes back to you probably have picked up, he's very much a man of God. And one of the things we absolutely love about him, but God has control, man. It's a big
100%.
picture. He's he gives us the free will to choose, but he's guiding things and he's putting you in the right places at the right times and opening and closing doors. And
For sure.
I'm just so thankful to him every day for opening and closing the doors that brought you to us. So
Yes,
it's been
sir.
a phenomenal experience. So let's talk real quick because the podcast is going to be about it's about business and the mat, martial arts, etc. And so you're a chief instructor at headquarter location. Right now we have 2 corporate locations, and we have 3 affiliate locations: Montana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Texas, and upwards of 1,000 students overall. And the team has really come to look up to you from all of those locations in guiding them on class planning and disguising repetition and being creative and stuff like that. So we'll get to that, but let's talk about you personally for a minute. Like hurdles in your martial arts journey. Uh, you know, did you have any struggles, and if you did, kind of what kept your fire going and what kept you on track?
Well, absolutely. I think in the Marines initially, you have I'm not the biggest person in the world,
Right.
and so in combat, you don't get to choose your opponents. You kind of have to learn to throw and work with all kinds of body types, size differences, and things like that. So that was sometimes a struggle for me, not being as big as some of the people I had to fight against and train with. But those are kind of mindset issues that
Right.
were really easily taken care of. Hey, you're a Marine, you're going to get it done.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it was a real situation. Would I say, I'm sorry, can you bring me somebody in my weight class? I couldn't do that. So those hurdles were pretty easily taken care of. I think one of the hurdles training martial arts and still being an active duty Marine was finding the time, 16-hour day working on a helicopter or getting done with the flight, but staying consistent with my training, because
Wait,
a lot of instructors
did you say 16-hour days?
16-hour days
16 hour
easily.
You mean the military is not just an 8 to 5 kind of thing?
Not anymore.
Another reason
Not in
people
my day.
Yeah, another another reason people we need to be just so freaking thankful for the people that choose to sign their life away to our
Oh
government
yeah,
to protect our freedoms and give us this amazing nation where we live the American
it's
dream,
true.
man.
Absolutely.
What a powerful thing, man. So 16-hour days and having to stay motivated to get some extra training in
Get
and keep your
training in,
yeah.
because the Marine Corps martial arts program was not necessarily in its infancy, but it was still pretty new as far as the program and implementing it across the entire Marine Corps. So the techniques would change from time to time, or the progression of the belts would change from time to time, and you had to keep it up on your own. There was nobody coming
Right.
around and checking
Right.
if you were doing it, and so that was a struggle at times, managing my time to stay consistent and be a good instructor, because you signed your name to those certificates and to those students as they move from unit to unit.
Right. Now, if people don't know, there's actually a belt system
Yes,
as
sir.
well. Not
Absolutely.
alongside the normal rank of being in the Marines, but there's a belt structure,
There is
right?
a belt structure. So the first belt is the tan belt,
Right.
and then most of our students there, they earn that right out of boot camp, and then you're able to move on. Some positions and some jobs you have to be at a certain belt level by a certain time, either to be promoted or to have that job.
Can I just say how cool
Absolutely,
that is?
that's
Like,
fantastic.
I mean, think about that. If you're just purely a martial artist, a martial arts school owner out there, if you don't mind, I'm going to share a quick little
Go
story.
for it.
One of my first instructors that I raised here, he went up to the college across the street here at McMurray, which you
I
graduated
did,
from
yes,
as well.
sir.
You're alumni, uh, and he got a double degree there in math, and I can't remember what the other one was in, but he was a super sharp guy. He was my first kind of assistant instructor that came in and was helping me to teach. But when he left Abilene after he graduated and, some decision making on where he wanted to go, what he wanted to do, he decided to sign up to be a Border Patrol agent.
Right.
And when he signed on with the federal government to be a Border Patrol agent, believe it or not, he called me and was so excited because when they found out that he was a black belt, they started him at a higher pay grade based on that than they did his college degree. And I tell people about that. It's not that I take degrees lightly at all.
No, absolutely not.
It's just the power. And when you said sometimes you have to have a certain belt rank in your Marine martial arts program to get to progress to the next level.
Oh yeah.
That is so edifying for you guys that are out there running martial arts schools. And sometimes, people go, you do what? Is that a real job?
Right.
I don't know if you hear that as much as we used to, back in the, late 80s, early 90s. And it's just a kind of a niche thing. So anyway, I just wanted to jump on the nugget
absolutely.
for a second.
That's
so
really
powerful.
great because, as a matter of fact, in the Marine Corps, when I signed up, if you did have a black belt, that would progress you in the MCMAC program as well, and you could do earlier techniques and move up the belt rank a little faster. So you could come out of boot camp like a green belt or a gray belt, which was kind of cool because you already had prior martial arts experience.
Very cool. So there you go. Awesome. You're raising up a kid in your school, and their dream is to be a Marine. Feed that dream, man. Feed that dream. And I'm sorry, man, but that makes me spark this thought. Like, I used to I'd get heartbroken and almost frustrated and even mad at times because I have kids come up here. They couldn't walk and chew gum, train with me for 5, 6, 10, 15 years, become a phenom athlete because of the skills that we worked on here.
Oh yeah.
And get recruited into something else. And it would like break my heart or even make me mad. So I was like, I wanted you to be an instructor.
Right.
And really what I failed to realize is God was giving me the gift of pouring into their life to make their life better. And
for sure.
What a powerful thing. So if you're out there doing that with kids today in a martial arts school, know you are worth it. What do you think about that?
100%. I'm starting to feel a little bit of that now because now that I've been the chief for a couple years now, some of the kiddos that I've raised up, they're hitting that middle school and high school range. And before they were not interested in volleyball, basketball, or anything like that. But the coaches are noticing, oh, this kid moves. This kid's got some skill, got some athleticism. A couple of our students walked on to the A team of their school without ever trying out because they were just athletic.
Yep.
And they come to me and say, so I won't be able to do leadership this semester because I've got volleyball and I want to prioritize correctly. And I'm grateful that they're speaking to me and had the maturity and the confidence that they gained through us to speak to me that way. But it happens.
I am grateful that you don't shame them.
Oh, absolutely.
And that you don't look down on that you are mature enough as a man and understand that you just took that gift, man, and gave it to them in a way that improves their life.
100%.
And we also hope that when that season passes, they come back.
Right.
We still want them. This is their home, right?
Absolutely.
So man, I don't want to say you've exceeded expectations, but man, you really, man, you're one of my favorite people to see walk in the building. You're one of my favorite training partners. You made it alluded to earlier, physical size. You're not a giant guy. I'm 6'3" and like 230 something. And, we roll around and do jiu-jitsu together, and you're a phenom on the mat at jiu-jitsu. You're probably, if not my favorite, one of my most favorite training partners. And it is the size difference, honestly. Right. You challenge me in ways. You're wily as all get out. You're always in a pocket somewhere. Like, God dang it, I can't keep this guy down. Right?
Knees
it's
to
so
elbows.
Fun. Knees to elbows. Right? Let's go, guys. So with that said, you've become a phenom teacher. Talk to me a little bit about teaching and inspiring. You inspire our team in such a way that they haven't been inspired in a long time. When did you realize that teaching and inspiring was going to become your thing? And talk about that a little bit.
So I've always had the opportunity to teach. In high school, I was in the junior ROTC program, and through that program, you get kind of jobs and roles where you help out with other classes, as a flight sergeant or a flight commander, and leading another classroom of junior classmen. And I had to teach them how to wear the uniforms and how the inspection stuff goes. And that was my first taste of teaching, I would say, and I enjoyed that at boot camp because I did have that JROTC material and background. I could kind of help the others around me, so I kind of taught in that way. I think my first real teaching job was in that first unit I had, where we were starting to transition from the test and evaluation portion to the actual, we're going to start transitioning to combat ready units. Those units came to us and we kind of taught them the aircraft and the systems and then sent them out. And that was my first official, you are an instructor of the ordnance program with a V-22 title.
Right.
and they gave us a couple classes on public speaking and like how to teach in the Marine Corps fashion. There's a very set rule set on how you teach, and that was an experience. It felt very robotic and very
Right.
rote and step by step. But my favorite times were whenever I was able to infuse my passion into those things. So when I was able to go off script a little bit, I could see the light bulbs going off,
Right.
and that's
Right.
when I knew that moment when there's realization in the student's eyes. That is when I knew I want to do this forever. I love teaching. Seeing somebody else get what I get is just a
Yes.
gift,
Yeah.
beyond belief. I don't know where the satisfaction from that comes from because I personally don't receive anything from that other than the joy of knowing they
That
get
you
it.
got to pour into that.
Yes.
But that's a gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a part of what God gave you, right?
For sure.
That's one of those gifts. I was listening to something this morning, and it was and I've said this before and I've heard this before, but my potential is God's gift to me, and then what I do with that potential is my gift back to God. And I think that's it. You have that
Absolutely.
potential, you have that gift inside of you, and so you've polished it and moved forward. So
Oh yeah.
so how has that passion kind of evolved over years into your martial arts instruction here on the floor at Team Chip?
I think because my kids did martial arts here for a while. It's a funny story. They actually got signed up here while I was in Afghanistan.
Wow.
I called from Afghanistan
That's
because
right.
they were
That's
here
right.
locally, and the program director at the time says, "You're where?" I said, "Can you take my card over the phone because I'm in Afghanistan?"
Right.
And she's like, "Sure, we can do it." So I paid over the phone over the international
How
lines.
cool is that?
And my two older kiddos started training here while I was still deployed. And when I come home from that deployment, they kind of showed me their one steps. They did mosquito on me, and it was
Mosquito,
great.
by the way, is one of those cute little names we give the little dragons, those little 4 or 6 year old kids, to help them to remember those movements, right?
Yes, and I was like, wow, this is really good stuff. This is really cool. And so that was my initial, all right, motivation. My kids like this; they enjoy this. Coming here and training for myself, I enjoy training in general.
Right.
Marines, you want to stay fit. You kind of want to get back in the saddle. And one instructor here in particular, who is the father of our co-chief JT, Brent Kofer, mentioned to me, one day you're going to make a great instructor. And he planted a seed and that thing went deep.
Mm.
It might not even been, he maybe watered a seed that I knew was in there somewhere, but
Right.
that was exactly what I needed to hear at that time.
Right.
And it kind of opened the door. Wow, I can be an instructor here.
I could do this.
I could do this. I really could. And that was the initial spark for me having the goal of one day becoming an instructor.
Dude, so man, guys, the power of seeds.
Oh yeah.
Plant them. I hate
Often.
the word. I kind of hate the word liberal, but
Right.
plant them liberally.
Liberally.
Lots of them. Put them out there. I talk to the team sometimes about like I'm not the best at complimenting people, and
Right.
it's a conscious effort that I have to make
Me
because
too.
I'm very type A driven. Boom, just check the box, move on. Let's get these things done.
Oh yeah.
And I talk to the team about this, how important, because I can vividly remember a few times in my life where people said something to me that just really kind of changed the trajectory of my life.
100%. Yes, sir.
And not to pick on you and Marines, but one was a Marine recruiter,
Right.
who
Oh,
made
yeah.
a comment to me when I was 17, because my dream was to be either Navy SEAL or Marine recon, something like that. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
wanted to be like the best of the best of whatever I did, right? That was, I don't know why, just the way I was wired. And a Marine recruiter looking at me and saying, because of my prosthetic eye, it's a long story, we can tell it another time, but you're unfit to be a Marine.
Right.
And at the time, it was hurtful.
It's a rough way to hear it, though.
Yeah, but it just kind of closed a door. It
Mhm.
closed a door and got open another one. And the other one was, I'm going to take my martial arts more serious now. That is going to become my military myself. But the point of where this came from was Brent, that instructor, planted a seed. So I tell the guys all the time, if you feel the urge to say something to someone, let's keep it kind. The kind things you have
Right,
the
the
urge to
good
say.
things. Yes, sir.
Yeah, say it. Take 2 seconds to say it. In other words, little Johnny comes in with the coolest haircut you've seen in the last 6 months. Little Johnny, I love your hair today. Boom, walk
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Little Johnny, you're a tiger today. Walk on. Little Susie, you were a beast in class. Boom, walk on.
Oh, yeah.
Say the thing you're feeling, because that might be the one seed, like you said, the one that just totally changes their life.
100%.
And I'm pretty sure you can probably list a few. I know I can list a few. We don't have to get into that. But I just wanted to pause for a second and really encourage you. If you're a martial arts school owner and operator, plant seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Don't drag your toes about it, and don't pre-qualify people. I don't know what Brent saw in you in that moment, But sometimes it's just one little thing,
Right.
and you plant the seed, and it's the right seed at the right time and place. But don't pre-qualify either. Sometimes I think we look at people and go, "Oh, they could never." That's not
Right.
the best approach either. We need to
Absolutely.
kind of put the guard down and know that they can become something great. So let's talk a little bit about, you do this unbelievable job. You're probably one of the most receptive people I've ever dealt with on feedback. And I'll qualify that way because I've not always been the best, but I've really, again, conscious effort, worked hard on when we give feedback, give it in a way that's constructive.
Hmm.
Don't do it emotionally,
Right.
things like that. But man, I've had to give you some hard feedback a few
Oh
times,
yeah.
and you have always just, yes, sir. Thank you for sharing that with me. Had the best attitude about that, which makes you this amazing example for the students. Uh, how do you do that so well? How do you receive well, and how do you become such a good example?
To be honest, it wasn't easy. I wasn't receptive like that all my life, but whenever you take 13 weeks and get yelled at and corrected over and over and over
Thank you,
again,
U.S. Marines, for prepping, Mr. Manny.
yeah, that does help in that. But I think early on in my career, I had a couple leaders that I respected for them being open-minded and not always having to be right. That
Right,
was something that I really was drawn to, the down-to-earth leaders that weren't trying to posture and show off how much they knew. They were just trying to be really good at their job. I just
right,
want to be the best at what I can, and the only way to do that is to take knowledge from wherever I can take it. And that's a beautiful thing about aviation in the Marine Corps is sometimes that person that knows their job really well will be valued a little bit higher than the poster child Marine that doesn't know how to do their job.
right,
Great, you can do 20 pull-ups, but you can't turn a wrench.
right.
I want you to be able to do 20 pull-ups and turn
And
the
turn,
wrench. Right.
right.
I need to know the
Oh,
right.
my cake and icing on top.
We do, and the Marine Corps is really good about getting it. And so I had some leaders like that, and I've always been really drawn to those types of leaders, the ones that are willing to soak in information from everywhere, from their brand new lance corporals to
Right.
the majors and colonels that have good leadership nuggets for them. And I've always aspired to be that kind of leader, to be down to earth with my troops, not above my troops or anything like that. And that's kind of been a thing that I've tried. It's a conscious effort, kind of like giving compliments. It's a conscious effort to not be upset or angry when somebody finds negative and fault
Right.
in something that you're doing.
Right.
I had to actually reframe that thought and be like, they're not saying I'm bad. They're saying the thing that I did wasn't up to an expectation. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
can fix that.
I love
That's
that.
easy.
Guys, catch that. Reframe the thought.
Yes,
It's
sir.
not a personal thing. It's not a personal attack. It's just I did something we need to make an adjustment on.
Right.
And we can make that adjustment. I think that's really just awesome. And as you were talking, you said something that was like, never stop learning.
Oh,
Like
yeah. Never.
open your mind and never stop learning. The more open-minded we are, I think the easier it is to receive, right?
Sure.
And the term we use a lot in the school is from the teamship acronym is teachable, just constantly having a teachable mind. And I always qualify that with teachable. To me doesn't just mean I'm willing to be taught, but I'm hungry. I'm hungry to
want to be
learn.
taught.
I want to be
Yes.
taught. I want someone to guide me and give me something and guide me forward. So give us a cool story, a fun story from your chief instructor experience here at Team Chip, that kind of maybe highlights setting examples or just, killer example of strong students. Just give me something fun here.
I think one of my most, and it's pretty recent, as I recently tested for my third degree,
Yes,
black
sir.
belt,
Yes,
and
sir.
up to that point, I hadn't really had the chance to show the students my abilities and capabilities. I teach a lot and I demonstrate a lot, but they've never seen me full bore, go hardcore, hitting targets, moving
Right.
through my form, and doing everything, breaking bricks, and
We needed to see Master Roo move.
and I needed to see me move. It was a little bit of an encouragement for myself that I could perform like that in front of my students. I think in a small class setting, I'm more able to demonstrate and confident in that setting because I'm in that authority position
Right.
there, and it makes a little bit extra confidence.
Right.
But when you're on the mat and there's a board and there's a crowd watching and you're being tested, now there's a little bit of a stressor and a little bit of
Right.
some pressure put on you. And I also thrive in those pressure moments. I really enjoy having the hammer put to me, and
Right.
it makes it real to me, and I'm able to perform. And while I'm extremely uncomfortable with people coming up and telling me I've done a good job and
Mhm.
man, you did so good in this and that, I receive it, and it took me a while to learn how to just say thank you and not try to critique it in the moment or go
Right.
further into it.
Right.
But having some of my students that I haven't that hadn't had the chance to see me do stuff like that come up to me with this big star in their eyes and was like, okay, I feel a little bit like a rock star today, but
Nice.
now tomorrow now I'm a third degree black belt and I have to uphold this level of black belt.
You
And
carry
so
a new
there
weight.
was a little bit of like riding this high and now moment of realization.
Ooh.
Now what am I do? What did I do? What did I sign up for? Almost the same feeling when you step off the footprint, off the bus onto the yellow footprints. It's like these guys are yelling at me and this is nothing like what I expected it to be. What did I do? Why did I do this? I know why I'm doing it. I love doing it. I love training every day. I love the students. I love the people we work with. But that moment was one of those like really kind of highlight moments so far as a chief instructor, being able to show them I'm not this just the chief. I don't just write class plans. I don't just
Right.
high five all the kiddos.
There's more to
I
you.
oh yeah, if you want to, let's put the gear on and gloves and we can go do it. Or if you need extra help with forms and things, I know workouts like I've
Nice.
told you before, kind of like a dog. If you put me on a task, I'm going to do it until you say, "Okay, stop."
Yeah,
That's
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 awesome.
okay. Stop now. But that was a great moment for me.
Very cool. One of the things I love about that is just, just the mindset of leadership by example.
Yes, sir.
Not afraid to step out there, constantly training, constantly growing. And I've talked about this in previous podcasts, but this idea that we kind of stole from Dave Kovar, but being a martial artist first.
Right.
We live it, we be it, for lack of better words.
Absolutely.
And then we're a teacher second, and then the business takes care of itself, and we create that experience for people that's second to none, right? Which is
Absolutely.
really powerful. So you're a killer at motivating the team in different ways, and we know motivate is like find your why, find your motive, but
Right.
you do a great job of motivating and inspiring. What give some tips, give some tricks on kind of leading your team.
I think it goes down to kind of like I said earlier before we started, like the Marine Corps concept of being a leader kind of starts from day one.
Absolutely.
But there's kind of a threshold that you pass whenever you become a corporal and you learn this NCO creed, and the gist of it is at the end of the day you're responsible to your troops at leading them, keeping them alive, keeping them on track, things like that, and they're going to be a reflection of you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want for your Marine Corps? And if you're not leading that job well and you're not taking care of them well, then the Marine Corps is not going to benefit from the amazingness that these kids can be. And I think every Marine has a little bit of that cocky rooster in them, and they
Master Roo.
that's right. They do want to do their best job all the time. So
Right.
leading Marines is about caring at a deep personal level for your Marines and really knowing them and caring for them and finding their button. That's something you said a long time ago. Find that kid's button, find the student's button that you can't always motivate. And you can't do that without relationship. You have to get to know them. You have
Yeah.
to train alongside
Yeah.
them. You have to sweat alongside them. You have to work with them. You have to do
Right.
all the jobs that they do. You have to it's not always about doing that job better than them, but showing that I'm willing to do this with you. I'll scrub the
Absolutely.
toilet. I'll wop the mats
Get-
down. I will do that.
Yeah, getting in the dirt with them, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. And that's Marine Corps leadership too. You would be astounded at some of the organizations that the boss is just the boss, and that's what they do. They sign paperwork. They have no clue what happens down
Right.
on the bottom floor.
Right.
And
Right.
we were taught very young that you push the broom, you scrub the toilet, you tighten the screw. You learn every job before you can say that's a good job or a bad job. 'Cause
Right.
You wouldn't even know.
Because you don't know, because you haven't done it
You haven't
before.
done it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Possibly. So I think a key in there that you said was relationship.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't ever see a student as just a belt.
Never. Yeah.
You don't see in the Marines one of your under enlisted people as just a number,
Right, never.
or a rank, or a uniform.
Right.
You get to know them at least a little bit. Now, real quick, it's a little bit of a segue here, but I want to talk some about it. I think this is so important for instructors, school owners, and leaders, even in business.
Oh yeah.
The idea of when you talk about relationships, like how deep does that relationship go? So here it is. We follow the rule and we work with our team all the time on the idea of being personable but not overly personal.
Yes.
And we got to kind of keep a professional boundary in there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe just for a second speak to that professional boundary, so that like if a young instructor's listening,
Right.
what kind of advice would you give them?
It's I kind of see it similar to the waitress who's doing a good job treating you well at the dinner table. They're not trying to hit on you. They're just trying to.
Right.
They're doing good service to you. So they're being personal, but not personable, but not personal.
Right.
They're not asking about your life and your family and your kids. I get the kiddos that love me and they want to give me hugs and high fives and stuff like that. But that's too far. I'm not supposed to be hugging on these kids and holding on to them. Wouldn't do that. I don't ever ask dads and
Right.
moms about their marriage and how their life is going. I ask how's Johnny or Susie doing in school.
Right.
That's something we have an impact on, an actual hand on.
Absolutely.
I not shy away, but I kind of don't like it that often when parents come up to me and say, "So I'm having trouble with so and so," and it's like a personal matter.
Right.
And they think we have all the answers
All the
because
answers.
of how well we can take care of the kids or how well
Right.
we can teach a class, and they're like, "This guy's got to know what's going on," and that kind of I have personal boundaries and lines that I draw. I would
sure.
never, I would never speak to a female parent one-on-one in a place where nobody could see us.
Right.
I would always have the
Exactly.
door open or another instructor there with me,
Right.
something like that. I never talk to any females, any students in any kind of enclosed matter like that without another instructor
Right.
around and near me. Just got to stay above board in those kinds of things. And I believe that God has given us an intuition, and if a situation feels overly uncomfortable or like it might lean a certain way, I guard myself and I bring somebody along with me for those conversations so
Right.
that I have another set of
100%.
eyes on those things. I kind of go with my gut on those things, and by that I mean I trust that intuition that God's giving me to not step on or step into situations that could be construed as like negative things
Right.
or
Having
viewed
the,
differently.
yeah, having the emotional intelligence to go, this could be perceived really bad.
Oh, yeah,
and I've got to be
absolutely.
careful what direction I take here, where I step, where we go with this, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's important. I just thought that would be a good thing for some, maybe, like I said, young school owners or
Absolutely.
instructors out there to hear. Just be really cautious and put some protocols in place about not going into a closed room with a like if you're a male instructor with a female, to have a hard conversation or
Right.
things like that. Do it with some backup close by or another
And,
one of the female students close by, kind
and I
of being
think
eyes and
it's
ears.
important that emotional intelligence portion is to some of those parents and to some of those kids. We walk on water. We
Right.
fly.
100%.
We're and while you can't just soak that in and let it fill your head up, you have to be responsible with that. That's a
Oh my
powerful.
gosh. So
That's
yes.
a powerful influence we have with
It
their
is.
students and with the parents like that. And as instructors, we need to be aware of that
Mhm.
and steward that really, really well.
Steward, I love the word, and steward it well, and not let it go to your head and let your ego get in the
Right.
way. And by the way, one of the favorite things I ever heard from someone speaking to me years ago was ego is eke God out. And
Right.
whenever we're eking God out of our life, we're getting in our own way, and that's a problem, right?
Absolutely.
Very, very cool. So, as we kind of come to a close here, anything you want to share with the audience out there, kind of keep in mind, school owner, instructor,
Right.
or maybe even a parent of some of our students, any nuggets you want to share before we get out of here?
I think one of my favorite things is you have to be a martial artist first.
Yes,
Never
sir.
stop training. Continue to train. Continue to learn.
What?
And
Wait. What if I have an injury?
I've had injuries before.
What,
Continue to train.
what if I pull a muscle?
You can watch videos. You
What
can
if I
listen.
stump my pinky toe?
That's okay.
What if I
Just
get a
train.
hangnail?
You
You
know,
mean I can work around those things?
I never got permission to die from my drill instructor, so I'm not allowed to quit. That was a
That's
funny
awesome.
thing. Our drill instructor says, "You're not allowed to die unless you come get permission from me to die."
That's
So
awesome.
it's a tongue in cheek, but at the same time, I never got that permission. So I'm gonna train regardless. I will take breaks. I do have to keep myself healthy and whatnot, but I'm always training in some way. If I'm not training physically my body, then I'm studying something that I
Right.
do want to train, some disguising repetition drills or something like that. I think that that's so important that you take care of who you are first. And if you're not the image of what you're trying to produce,
Right.
then you're selling false. You're not selling what you're supposed to be selling. As a business, you are the product.
Right.
What you can do, what your performance level is, you're the product. And if you can't deliver on that, why would they buy from you?
Right.
Why would they stop and see
Absolutely.
you? That's one of my biggest things. There was a mirror that we used to stand in front of it, printed on it. If you were convicted of being a Marine, would there be enough evidence to put you away.
Oh,
And
oh, I like that.
that's the same thing as a martial artist. If you
Right.
were accused of being a martial artist, would there be enough evidence to convict you?
When are
Like,
we gonna get that mirror put in downstairs?
I'm ready. I'll go put it up now. I'll put it up
I
now.
love that,
It's
man.
so good.
That is so cool.
And it not only is just the way we look in our uniforms and stuff like that, but how do we carry ourselves? Do we know
Right.
the material we're supposed to know? Do we know what the creeds are for this cycle? I mean, there's a lot of work that we have to do.
Oh my goodness,
And
yes.
if you're not doing that work, then you're a fraud, basically. And I will never let myself be anything other than what I am. I want to be as genuine as I possibly can. And I think my motivation, talents, or tricks come from that. I am honest about who I am,
Right.
and
I couldn't agree more.
I would not
Mhm.
give you anything less than. So when I'm asking of you, or I'm coming beside you on something, it's genuine. And human beings, that's what they need. That's what we like, to have somebody
Yes,
that's honest
sir.
with us.
Real integrity, the same person
Yes,
everywhere
sir.
you go. All of those things that we preach about all the time, for lack
Yes,
of better
sir.
words. So, good stuff, Mr. Manny. I am honored to have you. Couldn't love you more as a friend, a student, even a mentor to me at times when we have hard conversations, and I learn from you. So you've brought a world of wisdom to our organization, and we're thankful for that. I'm sure we'll be begging you to come back on at some point and share
Whenever
some
you
more
need me.
nuggets with us. But we're thankful for you. So, guys, I hope you got some good nuggets out there on this. Reflect, think about it. And Glenn Ann in an earlier podcast said, if it rubbed you the wrong way, maybe do a little reflecting. If there's something that did rub you the wrong way, maybe look kind of back at your own character. Just do
Right.
some reflecting and open your mind to that, and kind of think, why did that bother me? Not that we're trying to bother anyone, but if you got some positive nuggets that are things you can take and run, that's the goal, man. That's
Yes,
what we're
sir.
here for. So we appreciate you guys out there. Subscribe, comment, send us note, let us know what you want to hear. All of those things. We're just thankful to have you out there, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for tuning into the Team Chip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget, subscribe, share, and/or leave a review, because we need you. We appreciate you so much, and without you, we can't make this happen. Remember, consistency is the key to success, so go out there and never be outworked.